Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining today. We are going to spend just a few minutes talking about downward facing dog. This shape is a very complicated posture. There are lots of different cues and things that you might hear for different parts of your body when you're in it. Someone might say to do specific things with your shoulders, your hips, your feet, your arms, your hands, all the things. Today, I just want to focus on how to set up the proper distance between your hands and your feet. That's sort of the foundational piece. The rest of it you can adjust and work on as you move along. So let's get started. Make your way into a plank pose. I want you to come into full plank for just a moment first. We don't have to hold it for very long. Shoulders are going to be directly over your wrist. Balls of the feet are planted, knees are lifted, heels are pressing back behind you. Go ahead, drop to your knees as you do that. Don't move your feet at all. So you still have that same distance between the hands and where the balls of the feet are. From here, press a little bit through the palms. Don't move the feet. Start to lift your hips into that downward facing dog shape. So this distance should be about the right distance for your downward facing dog. Now, come out of the shape, take a moment, take a breath. For a lot of people, that distance is complicated, right? Our body proportions are all different. The length between our hips and our wrist crease, and the length between our hips and our heels might not all be the same proportionately to other people. This shape depends on your hamstring flexibility. This shape depends on the strength of your shoulders and your upper back. It depends on the flexibility of your chest, your shoulders, and your upper back. So there's a lot of things where this might change for you, but the general idea is that the distance between your hands and your feet in the downward facing dog is directed by the distance between your hands and your feet in plank. So once you have that, the idea is to have a straight line from your hips to your wrist. So if this is difficult, if this is a big stretch on the backs of your legs, I want you to keep that nice straight line from the wrist to the hip and just bend the knees. Bend the knees as much as you need to keep that nice straight line. Now, this can be a lot of work, especially if you're not used to holding your body weight with your upper body. So the way to make this a little bit easier to take some of the work out of the shape until you can build up enough strength to hold the posture is to start to elevate your hands. So you can use blocks. I'm going to show that with you here today. You can also do a chair. You can have your hands pressing into a wall, anything to lift the hands up. That's going to take the weight out of the shoulders. So you can start to build the strength in a more easeful posture. So we'll start the same way. Hands will be on the blocks. I'm going to find my plank. My shoulders are still over my wrists. You can drop to your knees if that makes it easier. From here, press into the palms, pick up the knees, press the hips back. Now you'll notice that my heels are not touching the ground. That's okay. That is not the goal in downward facing dog. That is not the point in downward facing dog. Now, if I walk my feet in, yes, my heels touch the ground. Then I have taken the work out of my legs. I'm not stretching my legs anymore. I'm not engaging those muscles the same way anymore. So for me, personally, in my own practice, I keep my heels lifted. I keep that distance. So I'm still finding work and active engagement in the posture. So that's just the basic, very bare bones beginning setup for downward facing dog. But I hope that helped. I hope you can find a way to make some adjustments to make the pose work for you. And I thank you for joining me today. Hope to see you again soon.